Welcome to my YouTube page. If you are an existing subscriber, thanks for coming again. And if you are new to this page, please kindly subscribe and also put on your notification for videos of this kind. So we will be discussing today the new legislations that is about to come out regarding the immigration for policy. Well, so what is likely to be happening in the month of May? Well, there's already a news report in the BBC where government will be publishing a white paper on immigration. But it is clearly now established that there will be three countries they will be focusing on: Nigeria, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Those three countries will be experiencing a massive restriction when it comes to visa, particularly for students and also, in some circumstances, many other areas around postgraduate visa as well. Well, what's the reason for this? There is a clear evidence, as published from the Home Office, that a lot of international students from these three key countries, Nigeria, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan, in many ways do claim asylum or they do go for care roles not particularly restricted to them alone, but there has been evidence that some of them use their student visa as a pathway to come to the UK and claim asylum subsequently. Well, what would be the implication of this? This is about trying to cut down the immigration numbers. We've seen the outcome of the recent election that happened in UK, where Reform, which is the Niger Farage party, actually won a lot of the councils. And out of it is now clearly established that they have over 667 councillors now, with large sway of councils under their control. So, what is likely to be the consequences of this? What is going to come out of this? Well, if you are an international student, I think what the Labour government will try to do, without any question, is first and foremost try to put series of restrictions in international students claiming jobs or having opportunity to go into jobs like healthcare. They will find a way to work around this, particularly without putting outright ban. But what that will mean in effect is the international student that would like to go into healthcare will face probably some restriction in terms of salary expectations. Those employers are expected to pay them, which will then dissuade those employers from recruiting those individuals on graduate visa. That would probably be one of the best way to stop this. Now, what is also likely to happen as a result of this? A lot of international students will be forced into a series of reputable roles now, particularly highly skilled jobs that are, facing series of expert knowledge and experts workers in there. Whereas, they will expect you to be able to use your academic program to fulfill some roles that actually make tangible contribution to their economy. And how best can you do this? Which organization should you actually be looking at as part of your career development? And how should you actually go about managing this situation for yourself? Well, there are numbers of things you can do to get you ready for what the future have to offer. Number one, you need to start looking carefully at organizations such as the NHS, and you also need to start looking at the civil service. So, if you're looking at the NHS, there are wealth of opportunities and roles within the NHS you can explore. However, things are quite tough right now in the NHS as well. It is without doubt, I'm sure a lot of you will be aware that there are numbers of hospitals now where job cuts is expected to be announced or it has already been announced, and a lot of hospitals are making plans to, as part of their workforce reduction. These has been forced upon them. There's numbers of projects going on behind closed door, which is not been announced yet. Either in ICB, as clearly evidenced, NHS England has been announced to be abolished, which has had implication in some circumstances on the workforce reduction plan. A lot of hospitals now are reducing their workforce. So there's challenges in the NHS, but it is still an organization worth exploring for a series of roles that could lead you into a sponsored opportunities in the future. Likewise as well, civil service. And when you talk about civil service is not just a single entity. It comprises of various departments, Department of Health, Department for Transport, um, Department of Environment, justice department, education department. So there are various roles, HMRC within the treasury as well. So there's wealth of opportunity for you in various areas you can explore as part of your career choices. But what are the things you need to do smartly now? You need to start thinking about how best can you invest in yourself, particularly if there is going to be a restriction in place for care roles. Therefore, what this government is trying to seek to achieve now is that those of you with little to no skills other than the education you've secured in the UK, which is a master's program, and more probably than in any circumstances, you will struggle to get a job outside of some of the things you've done in the past. Probably, a lot of you probably rely on care, which is what you've done to survive within the 20 hours restriction. And if you don't start investing in yourself, in upskilling yourself in through various programs, so there are numbers of organizations you can go to start looking at wealth of trainings that can help you develop. Udemy is one of them, Coursera is one of them, King's Fund is also one of them. There are numbers of free training on King's Fund. Those of you that are either working in the NHS as a band two or healthcare assistants in the NHS, if you go to NHS Select, you will see series of wealth of trainings you can take up in there. And those training will help you to navigate or transition into roles such as medical secretary, pathway navigator, patient pathway coordinator. Probably some of you will go on to become a service manager at a band 5. Some of you will go on to become a business support supervisor at a band 4, band 5 as well. So if you look at training such as report writing, minutes taking, you look at building highly performing team within NHS Select, those are trainings that will help you if you're working as healthcare assistants within the NHS. So you have access to NHS email, and then you have access to wealth of opportunity in terms of training and development within the NHS as well. So you need to start thinking carefully about what the future is going to be like, particularly when these new laws comes into effect. And I cannot say this more than what it is actually going to be. I think by virtue of what is likely to happen, this is going to be a very ruthless legislation, and it's going to be very ruthless as much as possible that this government is trying to persuade people not to move towards Reform Party, which is the Niger Farage party, and give them opportunity for a second term so they can turn things around. The UK is not in a great place at the moment. A lot of people are still struggling to see GP. A lot of people are struggling with day-to-day cost of living. And the best way a lot of people are actually showing their anger is by moving towards all these protest parties, such as the likes of Niger Farage party. And the way these people are looking to burn out their anger is they're burning out foreigners, such as international students or people coming to do the so-called low-skill job, which usually healthcare assistants or care roles are usually categorized as. So you need to start thinking carefully. If you are an international student watching this video, if you are already in the UK or you're planning to come to the UK, think carefully about what the future will mean for you. And how do you make sure you don't end up being destitute in the country, particularly graduating only to realize that you can't do any job. So start thinking carefully about the future. Start thinking carefully about how best you can upskill yourself. What are the things you need to do for your own personal development? How should you actually even start going about all these things? So the best way to start thinking carefully about this, first and foremost, is start looking at, okay, what is going to be the pathway for you to your sponsorship opportunity in the UK. Have a careful mapping process in place. And by mapping out a future for yourself, once you land in the UK, if you're already in the UK, you should start looking at roles within the civil service, or you start looking at roles within the NHS. And whatever that position may be, it doesn't matter, irrespective. Take up those roles. Once you get your NHS email account, there are numbers of things you can do with that email that will then propel you to roles like band 3, band 4, band 5. And there are some roles in NHS actually. If you take the role of a PA, for example, where some of you can secure a PA role that will give you sponsorship under the current shortage occupation list. So those PA could be band 3, it could be band 4 as an escape route rather than the odd options of care role. So you need to start thinking carefully about the future, and you need to start putting a plan in place to make sure that you live in Nigeria or whatever country you've come from is worthwhile. And without question, I know this cannot be overemphasized. It's going to be a very, very difficult period ahead. I'm sure the Labour government is trying to win a second term, and they will try to do anything as much as possible to make sure that they can pander as much as possible to the right wing side of the population, particularly those that have gone to Niger Farage. And you will be seeing that in the publication that will be coming out in May, the white paper they will be publishing around the immigration. There will be series of measures in there that will be very, very, very unpleasant. And in some circumstances, some of you will find it really, really difficult to cope if you're not already within the system. And those of you that have escaped the system, please do take your job seriously. Carry on developing yourself. Do not ever settle. Start looking for opportunity to upgrade. If you're working at a band 5, look for roles band 6, band 7, and do not settle where you are. It can be difficult, but you have to start preparing yourself that this is a country that is changing at a fast pace in front of you. So I hope this video has helped you by informing you with series of things that is likely to come up. I will also put in the link to the article that has been published by BBC in the video, um, regarding the visa ban that will be coming into effect in May. So thank you again for visiting. Please, if you're new to this page, kindly subscribe and put on your notification. Also, leave a comment on any subject you would like me to discuss. And if you're already existing subscriber, it's good to see you back again.